All right. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn discussion. My name is Corey Miller and I'm the Executive Director of the Cabbage Patch, and I'll be serving as the host for today's session. And this afternoon, we are going to be focusing on the Cabbage Patch Christmas Partner Program. And it has a long and lasting history at the Patch and gives donors a way to share their generosity and families the opportunity to experience the festive spirit during this most wonderful time of the year. Our presenters today are the talented Reverend Dr. Calvin Holloway, Counseling and Family Development Manager, and Mr. Doug Holm, Senior Family Support Specialist. So now, without further ado, Calvin and Doug.
Thank you, Corey. I guess, Doug, you can get started.
Good.
All right. Well, the Christmas Partnership Program, formerly known as the Christmas Basket Program, is a program where we assist between 70 and 80 families with Christmas assistance, and that's usually between 250 to 300 individuals. In order to receive any type of assistance here, families receive assistance from the Cabbage Patch, particularly our Christmas Partnership Program. They have to have children that are active and involved in our recreation department. We normally have between 25 and 30 different Christmas sponsors, which would include individuals, businesses, churches, and they partner with us here at the Cabbage Patch to help us to provide Christmas assistance for our families.
This year, we've kind of retooled our program. The name has changed to Christmas Partnership Program, and we have a nice handout, and some of these pictures are from that. But basically, this year, our partners can help out in two ways. The first option is you can go on our website, www.cabbagepatch.org, and look for the Christmas Partners banner. Mr. Patrick over in development told us it has gone live today. And you can click there and then make a financial gift. And what Calvin and I'll do is those funds that are donated, we will purchase gift cards for the families. And the beautiful thing about the gift cards is it gives parents a lot of freedom. And they can purchase gifts and food and clothing that they know their kids want and need. And it also helps them feel like they're a big part of Christmas, and they're not so dependent on others to buy the gifts for them. The other option is the typical option that we've done in past years that's still available, is that you can contact Calvin or contact me and tell us what size family you might like to help. And we will very quickly send you a PDF with all the family's information with sizes and wants and needs and ideas for Christmas. The deadline this year, we're asking if folks would like to sponsor a family for Christmas that way, is to get in contact with Calvin or with me by Monday, November 15th. Believe it or not, folks, we have been working on this since the end of August. And so we already have a fair amount of information on patch families, and we continue to gather more information. So we are gearing up so that if folks do want to purchase gifts, we can get that sent out to them very quickly. Most of the sponsors like to do their shopping Black Friday. And so we always make sure people have the information before Thanksgiving. Then the final deadline to get the gifts that are wrapped back to us is Friday, December 10th. This will give us plenty of time to track the families down and have them stop by the patch and get them the gifts and whatnot. One of the things Jennifer said was very helpful when we talked about this several years ago was to kind of illustrate for you all what happens if a family, a Cabbage Patch family, doesn't get Christmas assistance. And it goes into a bit of the difficulties of our family's budgets. So what Calvin and I did is we gathered a lot of data. So we gathered up information on the family's incomes and on their expenses. And so the typical monthly income we think is around $1,900 a month. And I think typical hourly wages are running around $14, maybe $15 an hour, $15 an hour, excuse me. And so it's kind of crazy how it worked out this way, but net income was around $1,900. Monthly expenses was slightly over that. So families typically are breaking even, but they're really juggling. One of the things, I won't belabor this, but one of the things that's left out of this very simple budget are things for car repairs, internet, nothing for retirement, of course, or anything like that. So we've really distilled these budgets. They're very, very basic. So, but anyway, so you see where people fall in November. Come December, let's say a family, it's a family of 2 or 3 children. And so the parent decides to spend $200 on Christmas gifts for the kiddos. And so what that does is it raises the monthly expenses. You can see up there to $2,175. So now they're behind $205. And you add that in with the previous deficit. So now they're running $210 behind in their budget. January rolls around and we kind of made believe in our little scenario. The family, because they're behind, can't pay rent on time. They have to wait for a paycheck to come through. And so rent is a week late. And typical late charges, you all probably know this, well, you may not, are around $5 a day. So we're talking $35 in late fees. And then, as typically happens sometimes in the winter, we had a make-believe car repair. And this is more on the cheaper side if you all have been to the shop lately, but a $250 car repair. So now we've got the deficit just for January is $290. You add that in with December's deficit of $210. So now at the end of January, this family that didn't receive Christmas assistance is running $500 behind. And so you might be wondering yourself, well, Doug, how do they ever get caught up? Well, typically what happens is they file for taxes as quickly as they can and in February and get the tax money back and just pay everything off that they owe. But the sad thing about that is that there is no extra money for an emergency fund or to prepare for upcoming. We got word yesterday that LG&E will be going up at least for the typical consumer about $22 a month. It'll be going up. So you can see without Christmas assistance, it really has a financial impact on our family. And so that's why I think helping for Christmas is a great financial way to help out families that don't really have a lot or are struggling here in Louisville.
We were asked to kind of give an example of a typical family that we're working with in our Christmas partnership program. And this is a family. We changed her name to protect her identity, but we'll call her Rosanna. She's a single grandmother. She recently just got guardianship of her 3 grandchildren, ages 5, 10, and 13. And recently she received her Section 8 housing voucher. She was laid off because of the pandemic. So currently she's unemployed, but she is looking for employment. And those are typical stories of families that we're working with, families in our Christmas program.
So we kind of have given you an overview of the program today. As we said, most of the families are only making about $15 an hour. That works out to less than $24,000 a year. The average size of our families is a parent with 2 or 3 children. We do have some families that have families that are much larger. After paying everything they owe, there's very little money left at the end of the month. So trying to figure out how to pay for Christmas is very difficult. And this is where our Christmas Partner Program can really come in and make a difference for these families. And we do want to remind you, these are families that we work with throughout the year. This year, as we said, there are 2 ways to help the families.
One way is you can make a financial donation on our website, and we'll use those donated funds to purchase gift cards. We will give those gift cards to our parents. and they'll have the freedom to purchase their own gifts and clothing and food that they need for Christmas. The second way is you can purchase gifts for Patch family. Sponsors can contact me or Doug and let us know what size family you'd like to sponsor, and we'll get a wish list to you from the family information that we've gathered. The deadline to request information on a Patch family is Monday, November the 22nd. And then the deadline for sponsors to wrap the gifts and to deliver those gifts to us here at the Cabbage Patch is December the 10th.
And the neat thing about the kind of rebranding or changing the name to the Christmas Partner Program, it's as if sponsors are partnering with us, with Calvin and I, with the Cabbage Patch, as we partner with the families to help their children have the best Christmas possible. The beautiful thing of the program is it also has a big economic impact on the families. We're helping to reduce the amount of debt that they start off the year. And then also, Calvin and I, both of us have MDivs, just can't let this go by. It reminds the families that they are loved by God and they are loved by God's people and they've not been forgotten. And so we thank you all for joining us in our short and sweet presentation. We hope that maybe you'll join us and be a partner this year in our Christmas Partnership Program and carry the word out to your friends and your family and your churches about what we're trying to do. We kind of just wanted to open up for questions. If anybody had any questions about anything.
Look, I might have been chewing on my chips and missed this part, but what are your typical sponsors? Are they usually individuals or businesses, or what are they?
Well, we mentioned that they're individuals, businesses, churches. The top, three churches that help with the bulk of the families is Second Presbyterian Church, Harvey Brown, and St. Francis. And then the rest is with individuals and businesses.
We have businesses anywhere from, we might have certain floors, or units at Humana, maybe their computer center. We've had different companies that do interior design. K. Norman Berry Architects, they love to help out in honor of Kim Hazelwood each year. So it's a wide assortment. We've had daycares in the past that make it a big project for their parents. So it's a wide assortment of people that like to help out.
Right. We've also had some even staff members, board members, and even former Cabbage Patchers, alumni. As a matter of fact, I've already been contacted by a couple of alumni who said, hey, I want to help with Christmas. Cabbage Patch helped my family and I want to give back. So
yeah, that's been really cool this year.
Any other questions?
Do you all go out and solicit some of the businesses, or do you ask the board to do that for you all also?
Doug, what we typically do is either next week or the week after, we'll send out a letter to sponsors that helped us last year, just letting them know it's that time of the year. It's word of mouth. It's pretty amazing. The board of directors, you guys know everybody in town, so you put us in touch with a lot of people. It's just typically word of mouth is how people find out about us. We do get some calls after Thanksgiving where people just were wanting to help out, and they'll put that into a search engine and Cabbage Patch comes up in their top 10 hits and they just call us. I think we made a new sponsor last year. It was Louisville Concrete, and they just Googled and we came up and she called us and we made a new friend. So it's pretty amazing how we meet people sometimes.
And sometimes they can find out the information on our website. And we also have a number of Christmas sponsors who, they've been sponsoring families for several years.
Long time.
And former board members, they've been helping out. I know one person, she's been at least 20 years. I know every year she sponsors a family, former board member. So,
yeah.
Calvin and Doug, I know that the Salvation Army's Angel Tree is a really nice program a lot of people know. How would you say that the Patches program is even maybe even a step up from, or more meaningful than that program?
Well, one of the ways I know that, and I'll let Doug chime in, is the Cabbage Patch. We know the families. It's a personal connection. And we don't just help the families during Christmas, but throughout the year. These are families that we know. And I'm sure the Salvation Army is a great program. And if people can't get help here, we refer them to places like, if their kids are not active here, to that program. Also, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, Doug can correct me, that the Salvation Army only helps with, I think, small kids, certain numbers, where we help with the whole family here. And we also do food and other things as well. They may just do one or two different gifts. So our program is a little different than theirs.
Yeah, and just piggybacking on Calvin, we really preach this. We work with these families all throughout the year. It's not just a one-shot deal. We're trying to go deeper with the families. The more we get to know them, the more they tell us what's going on. It's like a layers of an onion. And the more they tell us and more that they trust us, then we're able to get them in touch with the resources around town. But it is true. We also help. We have families that have little ones all the way up to college scholars age, and even spouses. We're able to help out. So that's what I would say to add on to what Calvin said.
Thank you.
Will you all be sharing this spiel with the board next week? Just as a reminder to board members that you've got Sunday school classes and friends.
I actually just had the idea to put it in the board packet that's going to go in about 10 minutes. So it's going to be included there, and we'll also have, we'll have an announcement about it in the board meeting for sure.
And we've also already started, I think even after we're through with this meeting here, we've got to work on, we already have the families, but St. Francis wants their families, if they can get them today, at least by next week. And we have that in. So some of the, and Harvey Brown, Second Pres, we've already been in communication with those churches already. So we're working on that right now.
All right, good questions. Anybody else?
Will you all need some help also putting these packages together, these down the road from the board? Some extra volunteers?
I don't believe we will, Doug. A lot of both of the churches, because of COVID, have decided to stick with gift cards this year instead of going shopping trips and whatnot. So I don't foresee, and Calvin, you can, but I don't foresee we're going to really need any volunteers from the board or anything like that. The way that the board can help us is most, you guys just have such extensive networks that, as you hear from coworkers or friends or family, and a lot of times people don't think about it till after Halloween, but they're like, we've been blessed this year and we'd like to kind of help out because we know that times are tough for a lot of people in our community. Do you know of somebody we can help? And you can say, hey, I know this place called the Cabbage Patch. And then when you start telling people, especially that we work on the relationships with the families, that's a great selling point.
Okay. And you do have some documentation, a flyer or something that we can use if we want to send it out to a business?
We do. Corey helped us retool the whole thing, and Patrick did a great job. It's very colorful. And we have a form that sponsors can fill out and get back to us if they want to purchase for a family, or if they just want to purchase gift cards, they can do that. Of course, right on the website.
Okay, great.
Doug, yeah. We'll have a flyer connected to the board packet.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
And I think it seems like to me, some people get the idea that they want to do something, but maybe a little late. So I guess just now is trying to get it out in front of people to move on it more quickly before even the holidays hit.
Mm-hmm.
The sooner we know, the better we're able to plan. So there's a reason that Calvin has taught me. You put the work in August, September, October, and then November, December. They're very hectic, but they're not horrendous. So.
Well, knowing how many sponsors helps us to know how many people to recruit, and and who we have to tell is on a waiting list if they wait too long to apply. So, right. It just helps in all of that kind of planning. Yeah. All right, great information, gentlemen.
Is it okay if I say something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Of course.
I wasn't too sure about why I was invited to this meeting, but I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I'm here. And I just want to give a little bit of a personal information about how the Christmas program helped me and my granddaughter. I'm also a single grandmother raising my granddaughter. And at the time I had my youngest son, who is now 21. Can y'all believe that? He's 21, Keontez is. But in the year 2018, I lost my job. And I lost my job on June the 30th. And then on July the 7th, my son was shot and the bullet traveled to his brain. And so I was with him in the ICU. And because I was unable to look for a job while he was still in ICU, unemployment denied me my employment benefits. So I had absolutely no money. I had absolutely no money at all whatsoever. I wasn't really focused on that. I just was in the hospital every day. And I guess the word was just getting out. And people started helping me and doing different things for me in the community. But when it came down for Christmas, I had already told Carly and Keontez at the time, we're not going to have a big Christmas because I didn't have a lot of money. And, you know, I did finally get approved, but I had to wait to get paid. And I don't know if it was Miss Megan or even Mr. Doug, I'm not sure, but somebody from the Cabbage Patch reached out to me and asked me to help me for Christmas. And that was a really huge relief because I was still playing catch up on bills. I had started a new job, but again, I was paying catch up on bills. So I was kind of smirking at the little grid about different things that come up that can put people behind. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so small compared to a lot of things that a lot of people deal with. So this program has helped me and my family tremendously over the years. And I just wanted to let you all know that. And it did help me not to have to worry about Christmas, to get caught up on my bills and to get everything back on track for me. So yes, it is very beneficial. So I just wanted to share that with you all.
I appreciate that, Angela. Angela is correct. That is a very simple budget, folks. The amount of juggling that people in our families have to do with their finances is mind-boggling. And there's very little safety net, very little room for error in how they spend their money. And we've had, Calvin could tell you stories of how many people he's called or talked to and they just start crying on the phone because they didn't know what they were going to do for Christmas. They just hadn't broken it to their kids yet. And to know that somebody can help, we may not be able to provide everything for Christmas, but they're like, you know, I've got something I can put under the tree, and just so very thankful.
Angela, thank you so much for sharing that. That makes it very real and powerful for all of us. So thank you. We appreciate that very much. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, well, we just want to thank all of you for attending. Those of you who are watching our video, we're grateful for that. Just remember that the Zoom is recorded and it'll be on our website under Stories and News. And we will have one more final Cabbage Patch Lunch and Learn Zoom. It'll be on November the 19th, and it has kind of an exciting title. The focus is on Patch alumni, and it is Alumni, Where Are They Now? It'll be a panel discussion, and it should be a lot of fun to hear from our alums that we're so proud of and that means so much to us. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope you all have a great weekend.